This is my app development desk setup. Apart from its high-tech look, it has some unique features that make it optimized for app developers. In the last few weeks, I made it my mission to build the ultimate mobile app development desk to streamline my work. I have been perfecting this design for at least the last 13 years, but it's not perfect yet. In fact, this is how my setup looked a few weeks ago. You might not notice much difference apart from the clutter, but I did 10 changes to improve this design, which I will be sharing in this video. The first question I always get when someone sees this workspace is, why do you have a vertical monitor? If you are a developer like me, this is super useful because you can put the code you're working on the main screen, and you can use the other screen for your debugger. You can open your Chrome tabs in there and your folders, and then you can use your laptop screen for design reference. And this way, when you're coding, you have everything at a glance. I tried different screen configurations during the years, such as 2 horizontal monitors, but by far this was the best. Now, since that's out of the way, let me go ahead and tell you the 10 improvements I did to my setup, which you can apply to your desk setup as well. The first change that I did that I think made the most difference is replacing this old USB hub. Us mobile app developers need a lot of USBs to connect all of our devices. There are 3 things I need from a USB hub as a mobile app developer. The first one is that it can fast charge my devices. The second one is that it can provide a fast connection for my devices, and the third one is that it is hidden. 3 things which this new USB hub does perfectly. It has an external power source, which I connect to a wall adapter so that I can fast charge my devices. It has 3 USB Type A and 1 USB Type C, which are 5 gigabits per second. And best of all, it hides behind my desk so I don't see it. However, out of the box, it did not fit on my IKEA desk. But after some trial and error, I made it fit by removing the rubber part, and I even had to remove the clamp screw. Apart from its 4K resolution, one thing I like about this Dell monitor is that it can power my laptop directly from its display USB. That way I don't have to add another wire to my laptop. But one thing that's annoying is that the cable that came with it is a little bit short, and it stayed like this from the monitor to the laptop. I tried another cable from my box of cables, but none worked because I needed one that had a power rating of 240 watts and enough speed to run a 4K display at 60 Hz per second. So I bought this new cable that has a power rating of 240 watts and a speed of 40 gigabits per second. And one nice thing that this USB cable has is that the end is 90 degrees, so it can fit under my laptop perfectly. This brings me to the next improvement. I like this 90-degree cable so much that I wanted the other cables to look like it so that I can hide the USB hub and the hard drives under the laptop. So I bought these 2 USB male to female adapters which have an end of 90 degrees. So now everything is hidden under the laptop and the desk looks more minimal. If you take a look at how my desk looked before, it had a lot of clutter, mainly because there were a lot of devices charging on the desk. Mainly there are these 2 smartwatches, Android and Apple, which I use from time to time to test my apps. However, I don't use them enough to justify a place for them on the desk. So I came up with the idea of making a charging drawer. This way all my devices, all the smartwatches and the smartphones that I need charging can stay in the drawer, and my desk will be empty and clutter-free. As a mouse, I use the Logitech MX Master 2S. This is perfect for coding, but I had one small problem because it has a micro USB, so I needed a cable just for it, which I don't use for anything else now because all the smartphones use USB-C. So after 4 years of using it, I decided to replace it. And what do you replace an MX Master 2S with? The MX Master 3S. By the way, this is not sponsored. The MX Master from Logitech is the best mouse I use so far. It has magnetic scrolling, which comes perfectly when you need to scroll through long files of coding. It is extremely quiet, and it has a lot of other cool features which I will not go in this video. The 6th improvement I did to my setup is to add a cable cover to all the cables that I can see so that they become all black, matching my monitor mount, and are less visible. In my previous desk setup, all the cables under the desk were all over the place. I kept adding weight and chargers and more cables, and they kept coming down, so I needed to attach them to the desk. I used these wire organizers which I bought for this project. I drilled them to the desk, and now they will not come down, and I can even open the wire organizers and add and remove more cables as I go along. A very minor change that I did, but it made a very big difference, especially when filming the screen, was to remove this logo from the monitor. It didn't match the black design that I was looking for, so it had to go away. I painted it over with a black permanent marker, and you can see the result here. The next improvement that I did was one that I wanted to do for years, but I never got the chance to do it. It is to add a backlight to my monitor. For this, I used the Philips Hue gradient light strip. I attached it using these cable organizers. It worked perfectly for a day, but then this happened. A section of the LED strip started flickering, and it was obvious that there was a dry joint in the LED strip, so I had to dismantle it again and try to fix it. So I did what any engineer will do. I brought out my soldering iron and tried to fix it, but it turned out very hard to fix it because the LEDs literally snapped from the middle. And what made it even harder to fix was that they put glue like resin, which was making it impossible to remove without breaking more LEDs. So I gave up and bought a Philips Hue Play LED strip, which is made for monitor backlight, not like the gradient LED strip, and I had to wait another week for it to arrive. But at the end it turned out perfectly. I connected the backlight to the rest of the house, and now I can control the scenes directly from this button here under the desk. The 10th and final improvement I did to this desk setup is to add light behind the desk. I was going to use the Philips Hue gradient light strip, but after the negative experience I had with it behind the monitor, I decided to go for the Philips Hue color LED strip instead. I passed it behind the monitor mount and behind the USB hub, cut the extra length and connected it to the Hue system. Apart from giving your desk setup a bold look, adding light behind your monitor will reduce the contrast and your eyes will thank you, especially when you're coding at night. And that's it. I hope you get some tips for your desk setup from this video, and if you have some feedback for me, feel free to put them down in the comments below.